Have you seen any increasing unpredictability in government policy or governance in India? Again, from the point of view of investor?
Yes, I think so. Again, I've always felt and said this openly, that what's behind it is not government policy. What's behind it is usually a vested interest spurring government policy. Or I think the FDI limits in a whole series of areas, some of them promised by the government, have not been done.
Insurance, for example.
Insurance is one main example. Retail is another. Right. Retail hasn't been promised, but another area. Probably the banks are a third.
Right.
These are things that the free world has come to accept as areas of participation. India is a nation that everyone is looking at today. People want to invest, and there's, it's not unusual now for a foreign investor to say, when do you think the FDI limits on this will change? And you can't give them an answer, because there's nothing today standing in the way of the government doing that. So there are those areas that
worry you. But you find inconsistency or lack of predictability.
Telecom is another example. Through the years, through 10 years, if one really went and looked at whether the stated government policy has been implemented in the manner and spirit that it was intended, the answer is no. It's been modified several times and to suit and protect individuals. Initially it may have been the public sector incumbents, then it was one segment or another.
So you're saying that it's been changed at whim?
Usually behind every change, behind every deviation, there's a vested interest.
Because I remember two things you said at our last conversation, referring to corridors. And I'll tell you the second one first. Okay. You said that we've come a long way, but things still happen in dark corridors in Delhi. And you said we don't know that much about them. And the other thing you said was that corridors of power don't matter as much as they used to, but they still matter too much. How have things changed in 6 years? Have they gotten better or worse?
In some ways they've gotten better, but I think in many ways it is worse.
Worse. Tell us those, some of those.
Well, there used to be greater adherence to policy. Today, the interpretation of policy has become very vague. So, eventually, you find that you are arguing on something that the other side interprets in a manner that is so woolly and vague that you come away from that meeting thinking, I'm never going to be able to do this on any...
Do you have a specific example?
No, but let me give you an example that has been bandied and used in the press, because it will give me a chance to clarify.
Right.
As may be known to many or some, when Narasimha Rao was Prime Minister, an accord was signed in Singapore to form a joint venture airline.
Right.
Ratan Tata was called by Mr. A.N. Verma to put up a proposal.
A.N. Verma was the Principal Secretary to Prime Minister. Right. The same job as T.K. Nair has now.
Right. And we went to Singapore Airlines and we made great progress. We put a proposal before the government. There was no policy for FDI at that time. And a 50-50 joint venture was, I wouldn't say approved, but informally accepted. Then vested interests brought about a change. And the 50-50 became 40-60 as a new policy. No reason, no grounds given. Singapore Airlines accepted that to become a minority player. So 60-40, a new proposal was made. In this period of time, many governments also changed. I can't specifically say which happened when, but it started in Narasimha Rao's time.
Then Gowda.
And then Mr. Gowda. Then
Mr. Gujral.
Mr. Gujral.
In between that, 13 days of Mr. Vajpayee.
Yes. So then finally, we met every requirement that the government had. And then the last change was no foreign airline can participate. If you were a diaper manufacturer or a pickup manufacturer, you could invest, but as an airline, you couldn't. And this is the kind of change. Then you see that as an example. You see cases where you just don't get any traction. Nothing happens. You know, the minister may tell you that I will do this, we will deal with this, but it doesn't.
Like which one? I know you struggled with defense for some time.
Yes.
It's getting better.
Again, it's an issue of not knowing where you stand.
Do you regret being in telecom? Do you sometimes say, I'm doing 20 things by telecom?
Yeah, because of the inconsistency of policy, because of the bias that exists, yes, sometimes I do. But it's a great area. It's a wonderful thing that the government opened it up to everyone. And it's a travesty that policy got subverted in a manner that it helps a few, disadvantages others.
And when you can subvert policy, I'm now sort of extrapolating and editorializing. When you have the freedom to subvert policy, then that opens the market for rent seeking.
For?
Rent seeking.
Maybe, yes. Theoretically, yes.
Has anybody asked you for money?
In telecom, no.
In aviation, you made that remark that somebody sitting next to you said something?
Yeah, I said that somebody sitting next to me, what I said was not what the media reported.
Yes.
What I said was a fellow industrialist on a flight sitting on the seat next to me said, you know, why don't you pay the minister? You know that he wants 15 crores. No one had ever asked us for any amount of money.
I mean, those are very good times. 15 crores would be small change now.
Yeah, I realize that. And the person said, you know, you people want the airline, don't you? Do you want the airline? Pay 15 crores. What does it matter to you? And I said, what I was trying to say in answer to a question that how do you avoid corruption, I said that it ought to be self-regulating. And I said, I told this person that you'll never understand, we just don't do that. He said, you're stupid. I said, no, I want to go to bed at night feeling that I have not succumbed.
And you've never done it?
And I have not done it.
Even for a mining lease anywhere?
No.
Because that is considered to be a normal thing now for mining leases.
No, it is not. On our part, no.
Tatas have never done it.
No.
And have you suffered because of that?
Yes. We have several mining leases that are still not extended.
Old mining leases. Old mining leases.
Old mining leases that have not been extended. Questions asked. We're an expanding steel company. We need
iron
ore in terms of a short supply. If we're allowed to expand in iron and steel, one would think, if one looks back at the 100-odd years that Tata Steel has been in existence, have we once exploited, usurped, in any way, the mining interests that we have? Have we profited? Have we destroyed the environment? Have we done any of those things? We have not. But we are the ones that are picked out, and it's unfortunate. And I think our effort has been to be good corporate citizens.
Another story floating on sort of the Delhi scuttlebutt is that the group of Tatas paid a sizable amount of money to Madhu Koda.
That's absolutely untrue. As chairman of Tata Steel, I can say that we have not done
directly or indirectly.
Directly or indirectly.